versions, means there will not be any ECC 7.0, but instead of that, we let us release, patches. Like, Windows, Microsoft releases patches. Similarly, SAP also started releasing, or rather, followed that approach. ECC 6.0 Enhancement Pack 1 contains certain functionalities. Enhancement Pack 2 contains additional functionalities. Enhancement Pack 5 contains few more additional functionalities, and it removes all the bugs available in the previous versions. So that's how the SAP has been evaluated. Now, we were discussing about the architecture. So this is what is meant by R3 architecture, right? So you will have three layers, what we call it as a presentation layer, an application layer, and a database layer. I'll just give you an example. Probably I would have used the same example even in the class earlier. For example, we all use, Gmail account or Yahoo account, mail accounts, right? So we access our mail account from our machine, laptop or desktop, right? So once we go with, for example, let me show you here. Just a second. Let's say if I have to access my Yahoo Messenger, I'll just double click it, right? So this is what we call in the client layer or the presentation layer, where people like you and me will be sitting. Okay, we will have user IDs. So when I instantiated Yahoo Messenger, a GUI screen, the login screen has appeared. That login screen page only available, or the login application only is installed on my machine. So once I give the user ID and password, it looks for the validation application for the user ID and password in the Yahoo Messenger. That Yahoo Messenger is one application available in the Yahoo server. So you could see in the presentation layer, which contains only the GUI components, whereas the application layer is installed either on one or multiple machines. They are installed on the servers. Similarly, in the database layer, you will have where the database which actually stores the data. So as an end user, if I wish to log into Yahoo Messenger, you see here I enter my user ID and password. So therefore, that user ID and password is validated in the Yahoo server, which would have been there in UK or US or some other place. If it is valid, then the system will allow me to log into Yahoo Messenger, and then from there I can either, if I wish to chat, I can chat with somebody, or if I wish to, give a call via VoIP, I can do so. Whatever I wanted to do, I can do it. All the data, for example, chatting or VoIP calls, etc., they will get saved in database, Yahoo server. So that database is this one. Similarly, in SAP, whether you are an end user as working as a buyer or a consultant or someone else, all the data that you enter from here gets processed in the respective applications, and that application data will get saved in one database. Okay, because it is one database, though this guy has created a purchase order, if somebody wanted to see, he can see the same data as what he displayed or what he maintained. Okay, now let's try to understand the functionality of SAP R3. Like I said, SAP contains suite of applications. SAP has got applications in financial accounting, controlling, asset management, human resource, workflow, project systems, MM, WM, SD, PP, PM, QM, warehouse management, so on and so forth. You name any application, SAP has got a solution for that. So that's the reason SAP is very, very robust and SAP scope is very large. Therefore, SAP was part of high-end ERP solution. Now, like I said, you see here, if I use SAP, As I said, SAP has got solutions in inventory management, process area. SAP has got solutions in production solution. It has got solutions in accounts payable and receivables. It has got solutions in HR, delivery, BI, sales, everywhere. Each of the modules SAP has got solution. So therefore, and also SAP R3 allows the integration of all of a company's all the business operations in an overall system for planning, controlling, and monitoring. With SAP, these integrations is also possible. If they want to run independently, that is also possible. Okay, so now you could see here, as I said, SAP stands for systems, applications, and products. You see, these are systems: client systems, application system, database system. Okay, applications means these are various applications: financial applications, logistical applications, HR applications, so on and so forth. Now let's discuss the products. SAP stands for Systems, Applications, and Products. Now I'm going to discuss about the products. Product means these products have been built on top of the existing core applications or core modules. Okay, there are various new dimensional products available. To start with, supply chain management, SAP's APO, Advanced Planner and Optimizer, of course, which is part of SEO, and also Business Information Warehouse, or simply BW, Business Warehouse, Supplier Relationship Management, Corporate Finance Management, Customer Relationship Management, Knowledge Warehouse, Strategic Enterprise Management, Business One, something called FSCM, Financial Supply Chain Management, Treasury Management, Transportation Management. All these things, these are all new dimensional products. Okay, on top of it, you have got something called IS, industry specific tools like IS Oil, IS Retail, um, this IS Banking, IS Automobile. These are also called industry specific solutions. These are also being referred as products. Okay, mysap.com on the internet. Like, as you know, nowadays everybody is providing or enabling the applications to port onto the internet. Without internet enabling on the certain application, it is handicapped. So SAP don't want to lag behind its competitors. So what they did was SAP, changed the architecture technically. This is from the technical perspective, okay, which you will not be knowing it unless you are an ABAPer or an administrator, system administrator. You will not be seeing this one. So what SAP thought was, if we don't provide internet enability for the SAP applications, we might lag behind competitors. So keep that in mind. SAP has introduced something called SAP NetWeaver technology, which is basically provides internet enability to existing SAP applications. Okay, with internet enability, you can mold a certain application. You can personalize it basically. Okay, let's say Venkat as a buyer, he will have his own personal settings. Maybe somebody else will have his own personal settings. Some other person will have his or her own personal settings, which can be possible with internet enability. Right, there is something called tools for configuring R3. We will have various tools. Once you are into implementation project, you may have to work with multiple tools. The first and foremost is IMG, Implementation Guide. Whether you are an MM consultant, SD consultant, an FICO, or whether you are doing in SAP ECC system, or whether you are working in SRM system, or you are working in SCM system, every system will have IMG, Implementation Guide, and that's the tool where you will be doing configuring as per the requirements taken from the customer. Then there is something called SAP Office, which basically stores, edits the various documents which we use it for maintaining information for a project. So this is something like a project management tool. Okay, so it contains all the information. Then there is something called Business Navigator, which provides the graphical views of the various business processes, like process flow diagrams. Then there is something called R3 Analyzer, which is basically again a tool which the developers uses, like which standard program has got which features, where to tweak, where is the enhancement spot to modify certain thing in the coding and stuff like that. They use this R3 Analyzer. And then there is one more thing called a reference model. This reference model contains the best practices, the samples, okay. So therefore, you can pick and choose a certain process and make modifications to those processes, a process according to your customer requirement. By doing this, you need not have to develop an application right from the scratch. Whatever can be retained from the standard process, you retain it. Whatever needs to be changed, modified, you do it. That's where this reference model is used. And then there is something called accelerated SAP, which is again a tool which is basically meant for implementation projects. And then there is something called solution manager. That's also a different tool which we can use it for multiple purposes, for configuration purpose, for documentation purpose, for communication with SAP on the issues in the standard programs, or even you can use it as a supporting tool. Once the product goes live, you have to have some support tool with which you can submit the ticket to the supporting team. So for all these purposes, we use, in case if you want to use a SAP tool, which is solution manager. Right. So we have discussed one reason for SAP success. The strength of SAP lies in its high degree of integration. You see a few more advantages or reasons for SAP. One is security. Information maintained in SAP is client-based information, technically client, so therefore it is highly secure. Integration, like I said, across modules or across systems is very, very tight, so therefore this is another advantage or reason. And then enterprise-wide solutions. It's not just SAP provides solutions for management or for finance. SAP does provide solutions for virtually all the the process areas or the modules or the applications that a customer will have. So enterprise-wide applications. Once you buy SAP, if you want to implement SAP in all the process areas, you can do so. If, for example, HR module, if you are not implementing with SAP, you wanted to go with PeopleSoft, that's your management decision. But SAP does have got SAP HR. You can actually use HR. So likewise, enterprise-wide applications or enterprise-wide solutions are possible with SAP. Then there is something called best business practices. Let's say you are implementing SAP for a banking company, ICICI. See, in banking, you have got different MNCs, local companies, etc. State Bank of India, ICICI Bank, Citibank, okay, Standard Chartered Bank, whatever banks. When I am implementing a process, as you might be knowing, for example, one application called deposit money into the savings account, right? See, this is application, deposit money into the savings account. You will have options by cash, by check, by wire transfer, etc., etc. That's a feature, right? But deposition of money into the savings account is an application which would have been there in each of the bank. And how they deposit money, you will have different steps. Assume it 10 steps. Out of 10 steps, maybe 5, 6, 7 would have been common. You have to fill the deposit slip. That is one common phenomena. That slip needs to be given it to the accounting clerk. The accounting clerk will check the details, verifies it. If it corrects, then he stamps it and give it to you. Then probably after an hour or few minutes, you will actually enter the details into your bank, into your account, and then an email or a message needs to be sent to the customer, right? So all these things, these are various process steps. Maybe bank to bank, the process steps may vary, but how much percentage? Maybe 10, maybe 15, maybe 20%. So the 20% deviation, instead of building an application with right from scratch, you copy the existing one. Whatever is not suiting, you remove that one, add your own piece of code. That's the best practice. So SAP gives you such kinds of options, either for hello, did somebody join newly? Can you guys hear me? Hello? I'm not getting any response from any of you. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir. This
Yeah.
is Ra.
Yes.
Yes, sir. This is Radhika. I'm able to hear you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, similarly, SAP does support multiple currencies. SAP has got support for multilingual. So it supports more than, I would say, I think 40 languages or more than 150 currencies. So therefore, these are all the reasons for SAP's success. Now, better integration, like what the wheel which we have seen a couple of screens ago. Now you see here, these are, you take any industry, whether it is a banking or a manufacturing or a service, any industry will have various departments. For example, sales, customers, inventory, production, purchasing, so on and so forth. These departments, either they may work independently or they may work in communication with other departments. Whether they are working independently or not, the communication has to flow between these two, or rather all these departments. I mean to say, cross application communication or cross module communication or cross process area communication or information exchange is mandatory for any company to work successfully. So with SAP, this integration is quite good. That's what I wanted to say here. Right. Then there is something called impact analysis. You see here, let's say this is just a pond of water. Okay, you assume it as a swimming pool, right? So you have got various paper boats thrown into the swimming pool. Okay, this FI, SD, MM, PM, PP, etc. These are modules. These are nothing but the what you call paper boats. Now you ask a small child to throw a stone into the standstill water. What does it happen? What will happen? Waves get generated, and these waves, when it hits these paper boats get, they get fluctuated. So that means what? Paper boats getting affected. I'm sorry, any questions? So let's try to apply the same thing to SAP. Let's say you have an up and running system with all these modules FI, SD, MM, PM, PP, SD, CO, etc., etc. Now you make a change to a process. You, as a functional consultant, you need to understand what is the impact of this change in other applications. Okay, simply throwing a stone is nothing but making a change to the existing process. You need to identify where exactly and in which places it is affecting. That's your responsibility. You have to do that. SAP has got such facilities. And then these are various advantages. You can see integration of various modules is possible, quite good in fact, faster and cheaper, because you have got a process model where more than 1,000 ready-made processes are available. You adopt a process according to your customer requirement and then modify according to your customer requirements. You need not have to build the application right from the scratch. That's the advantage, and therefore it is faster and cheaper. What we call it as RAD, Rapid Application Development Tool. And then real-time reporting. Like I said, the PO created just now can be used for reporting purpose. Multiple languages. It supports more than 40 plus languages and currencies. Up 200 plus currencies can support. More than 225 countries are supported in SAP. With reduced manpower, you can process the same application with same or increased efficiency. So these are various advantages of SAP. Now let's try to make you understand what are R3 components. There will be three components if I have to say. Look at here. The first one is an application component where all these applications are used by the end users. Master data team create master data objects. The end users like buyers create purchase orders, like that is transactional data. But to create master data or to create transactional data, what you require? You require ABAP programs. Without program, nobody can create a master data or a transactional data. But who will create these things? ABAP programs are created by the developers. But programs, okay, that's fine. Programs that's created by the developers. So what is the basis for program to work? You have to have something called organizational structure to be available. You have to set up some key data elements. You have to set up some functionality configuration, or what we call it as process configurations, needs to be built. All these things were built by the functional consultants. So therefore, as you can see here, unless you have an organization structure or unless you have key data elements and functional configuration, ABAP programs will not work. If there are no ABAP programs, master data, neither transactional data nor master data can be maintained. Right? So these are the benefits, or the what you call the process flow for working with the SAP components. Let me try to help you understand what is customization versus configuration. See, customization is nothing but adopting the customer requirements to, or adopting software to suit the customer requirements or to suit the customer specific needs. This customization can be done by two means, one by configuration, second one is by coding. Okay, so configuration means what? This is configuration. The yellow strip that you see here below is called configuration. This can be done by either by configuration, customization, or you can do this configuration or by coding also. Coding means what? ABAP programming, the middle one. Sometimes it is both also, right? So